Space Jam: A New Legacy. It's out and you can watch it. You can see it in theaters or stream it on HBO. I'm not your boss, I really don't care what you do. And upon its release, the reviews are not great, and that's putting it mildly. However, I've noticed some people saying, well, this movie wasn't made for you, adult human being who is reviewing this movie, and that you shouldn't be looking at this movie like it's an A24 movie or a Scorsese movie. And you know what? I get that. It would be ridiculous to try to analyze this movie like it's trying to be some sort of Oscar bait picture or say something profound or important. But guess what? Even if it's a movie made for kids, it can still be a bad movie. Being a movie made for kids does not mean that it has to be terrible. There are good movies that were made for younger audiences. Fucking Iron Giant, Mulan, Toy Story 3, The Incredibles, the Lego Movie. Being a family movie is no excuse to be flaming hot garbage. And Space Jam: A New Legacy is exactly that. It's awful, soulless, and tone-deaf, corny, trying to be emotional without earning it. It's like the movie is made for a very specific person, the kind of person that walks into a restaurant and is like, I'd like 1 plate of substance, please. Substance? Yeah, just substance, just generic substance. Do you want any sauce on that? If there is any flavor in this dish, I'm gonna throw it against the fucking wall and kill your firstborn. And guess what? That person doesn't exist because people want to taste their meal, not be fucking bored to death and regret every life decision that led up to this point. When my buddies and I watched this movie, we were in a very unique position with a new release thanks to streaming and the pandemic. We could go in real time, flip back and forth between the OG Space Jam and whatever this is, typically swapping between significant plot beats, the opening credits, meeting the villain, meeting the tunes, training and practice, and of course the big game. And maybe that's gonna make you say, well, you didn't watch the full movie then, or at least how it was intended. You didn't even let beats develop. You killed any momentum A New Legacy may have. And my response to that would be, shut the fuck up, it's Space Jam, who cares? But I gotta say, watching these movies basically side by side, it did the sequel zero favors. Let me tell you, the original Space Jam by comparison is a goddamn Renaissance painting. It's 90 minutes and it cooks, there's no BS. There's kinda no second act besides we gotta get Michael's shoes, but it's fucking Space Jam, it doesn't need a second act, fuck you. And for as ridiculous as it sounds for a movie involving aliens, Michael Jordan, and Looney Tunes, the in-universe logic makes sense. I get why the aliens want to capture the Looney Tunes. It makes sense why the Looney Tunes challenged the aliens to a game of basketball. It makes sense why the aliens didn't know about and steal Michael Jordan's powers since he was playing baseball. Which, by the way, they poke so much fun at how bad he was at baseball and Jordan just embraces it, which makes it even better and humanizes him. It makes sense why the Looney Tunes seek out Michael Jordan for help. It makes sense why Jordan just unnecessarily raises the stakes at the end given his gambling problem. It's incredible. It's tight. It's 90 goddamn minutes. And not only that, Jordan can act, or at least has some director that could get a performance out of him. And not only is he able to act and be charismatic, he's surrounded by people who can also act. His kids aren't terrible, Bill Murray is a gift to the planet, Danny DeVito, the NBA player cameos are awesome, Homer Simpson is at a Knicks game and is completely unfazed by a guy sitting next to him doing weird things in a trench coat, because guess what, they're in goddamn New York, it just makes sense. And to top it all off, Wayne fucking Knight. Holy shit, Wayne Knight is just the best thing ever in Space Jam. Dude comes on as a role player, plays like the equivalent of like 18 minutes in a game while going 6 for 6 from beyond the arc. The dude is just primetime J.R. Smith and it's great. And guess what? When you don't have Wayne Knight come up clutch in your sequel, you know what the reaction you're gonna get from your audience is?
See, nobody cares.
Which all brings me back to A New Legacy. It's 2 hours long and it does not cook. It drags so hard. It takes forever just to get to the goddamn Looney Tunes. I'm pretty sure we were 27 minutes in when it finally happened. We were neck deep in all the plots in the first one by 11 minutes. This sequel does not need to be 2 hours long. Let's just not kid ourselves here. You're cashing in on reboot culture and nostalgia. You don't have an important story to tell. Literally pay yourself more with the money you save in production and make a 90-minute movie. In regards to plot logic, I don't know what's going on here. An AI who resents LeBron arbitrarily challenges him to a basketball game, because I guess that's what you do to LeBron, since he plays basketball, even though he's really good at basketball. Like, wouldn't you want to put him at a disadvantage, like debating him on the ethics of, what's going on in Hong Kong? Just throwing it out there. In the first movie, the Looney Tunes make it about basketball because the aliens are tiny. This movie makes it about basketball just because it's Space Jam, and that's what it's gonna do, I guess. Anyway, with that challenge, LeBron needs a team, so him and Bugs Bunny travel around to all the other Warner Brothers IPs recruiting Looney Tunes, who, by the way, seem like they're on all these other planets by choice and like having a good time, so I don't really understand why they're really even invested in playing basketball, other than the fact, it's Space Jam. And I gotta say, the thing that got me most heated as a viewer is they don't even really use these IPs. They don't really interact or do anything with these properties or characters outside of the Looney Tunes besides just shoehorning them in and basically being deepfake videos that you would see on YouTube where someone's like, what if LeBron was in Mad Max? And if it's a 1 or 2 minute technical showcase by an individual or small team of passionate special effects artists, cool, great. Guess what? You get a like and someone comments, do Joe Pesci in Moana next. But in this, it's just soulless. It's just trying to play on hollow nostalgia and assuming fans will clap when they see things. Which, people tend to do, to be honest, so maybe I'm just the grumpy guy who doesn't clap when Rick and Morty show up. It just felt so much like, yeah, I know, you own a lot of things, good for you. Big chunkus. Regardless though, if the recruiting montage was fun and the plot was coherent, it really wouldn't matter. All the acting in this movie just feels so flat and like a PSA. But instead of a PSA about anything significant, it's just a bunch of forced pop culture and basketball references trying to be like, hey, this movie is cool, guys, we're cool. Guess what? You're not cool. No one in this movie is cool, except Don Cheadle, who, God bless his heart, is just acting circles around everyone and just having fun. LeBron's kids, I don't care about. The NBA cameos, nowhere near as much fun as the ones in the original. It's just again like the IPs. Look who we got. We're not gonna do much with them, but that's pretty cool, right? That'll be $15, and with the popcorn, $37. Although I will admit I did enjoy the Dame Time segment, so you got me there, I guess. And Ernie. Who doesn't love Ernie? Biggest thing though, there's really no Wayne Nightside plot in this film. I mean, there is a guy who I think is responsible for touring LeBron around the studio and is in charge of finding him, but let's be honest, it's no Wayne Knight. Wayne fucking Knight. God, I love that man. And then there's LeBron. Now, I'm not a LeBron hater. He's the greatest basketball player I've seen play in my life, and I've thought it'd be cool if he tied Jordan at some point in rings, even past him. Not to mention, I thought the scenes I saw on YouTube of him in the movie Trainwreck were not that bad. It gave me hope for this, honestly. But the acting and the way he's written, he's completely unlikable. He's a boring, uncharismatic, straight-up bad father who just doesn't change until the end when the Looney Tunes make him realize that he's a shitty person. I swear, he's like 2 seconds away at one point from snapping Bugs Bunny's wrist, and like everyone knows it in the locker room. Remember when Jordan leads and inspires all his teammates around him in the first movie? There's none of that here. Just a ton of human drama I don't care about in a cartoon basketball movie. It's just everyone dealing with LeBron until he apologizes. It's so boring and so hard to watch. Everything about this sequel, or reboot, or whatever you want to call it, just feels so artificial and hollow. All your deep fakes and green screening LeBron in that you do, don't care. LeBron trying to bond with his fake movie son in the end, don't care. His son just wanting to go to E3 all movie, don't care. Killing Bugs Bunny in the end, don't care. And yeah, that's right, you heard me correct. They try to have some high-stakes moment where Bugs Bunny sacrifices himself and actually dies. That happens, and some minutes later he shows up and is like, you thought I was actually dead? What are you, stupid? What, did you react to the movie like how the movie was telling you to react? You fucking idiot. So I don't know, what do you want from me, Warner Brothers? Do you want me to be sad because you play his death straight even though I know there's no chance in hell you're gonna kill off Bugs Bunny for a movie vaguely about basketball, only to then joke and be like, of course he didn't die, with no explanation besides, of course he wasn't gonna die, even though he did die literally on screen? What the fuck is this? Why am I making a video about Space Jam? I'm 26 and the world is on fire.